So Chandana, Tabitha will be starting in the next 2 minutes. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Chandana, Tabitha, am I audible, visible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, perfect. So good evening, all of you. So today we are here to talk about MBA as a career stream. I have with me Chandana and Tabitha. Both of them were students of Jamshedpur, NIT Jamshedpur to be precise, and presently they are studying at IIM Calcutta. Both of them have completed their first year at IIM Calcutta, and they will be there with us. I have taken all the questions that you have sent across on the Google Forms. I'll be asking both of them these questions on your behalf, and possibly we will get to learn a lot from their experiences. Okay, so to give you a brief profile of both Tabitha and Chandana. So Tabitha completed her engineering in 2019 from NIT Jamshedpur. She then joined MBA through CAT, and presently she is a second year student at IIM Calcutta. Her accomplishments include she received a merit scholarship of 1.1 lakh rupees. She was first placed in the state level mathematics Olympiad conducted by the school. She was a gold medalist at extempore and Spelby, a gold medal in throw ball, silver medal in singing at the school level. She was the technical secretary, head of the Society of Electronics, and senior coordinator of the team event management of the technical fest in NIT Jamshedpur. She was also the school pupil leader of her school. Tabitha has always been passionate about public speaking right from her school days. She has hosted many events at the school and the college level. She is currently the president of the Toastmasters Club at IIM Calcutta, and she also heads the events team in the marketing club of IIM Calcutta. Her hobbies include singing, playing, and playing badminton. She recently completed her internship, 2-month internship at American Express. She worked in the credit fraud and risk department there. The last 2 months, she says, has been quite insightful. She aspires to become a motivational speaker at a point of time. Her thought is to influence and bring a change at least in a few people's lives. So that's a very noble thought. Approaching things with a positive attitude has helped her a lot throughout. Adding to this, following a do not give up mantra has worked for her always throughout her life. She says 1 year of her MBA has helped her in meeting and meeting many significant people, and has helped her in making her career helpful and successful. And she looks forward to an exciting career with IIM Calcutta ahead. Now coming down to Chandana. Chandana completed her, again, engineering from NIT Jamshedpur from Electronics and Communication Engineering. Post that, she joined IIM Calcutta last year. She says, IIM Calcutta has been a lifetime experience. Never in my life I've experienced so much in such a short span of time. Every day you get to renew yourself and become a better version of yourself. So that is one reason why you should join an IIM. My dream is to start an entrepreneurial venture in education field. In the summers this month, she worked with Samsung Electronics in an operations role. The work was fascinating as she could apply all her theoretical knowledge to resolve some real world problems. Back to her college days, she worked in the core team of NSS and the alumni cell of NIT Jamshedpur. Currently, she is the Vice President and Vice President PR, that is Public Relations of IIM Calcutta Toastmasters Club. She's also involved with the divisional public relations team of the club. She has worked as the house captain and the class representative at the school level. Her accomplishments, they include a district level project presentation conducted by the state government of Andhra Pradesh. She was the runner-up of the quiz competition conducted by the Election Commission of India, a distinction in maths exam by securing a rank in the top 10% held by UNSW. She's also professionally trained in yoga. So both these students with me have a whole lot of accomplishments to their name in addition to being IIM Calcutta students. So I hope you get to learn a lot from these people. Both of them have been wonderful students. If you ask me my experiences of training both these students, both of them are down to earth, humble, and extremely meticulous and hardworking, consistent, and sincere in their approach to studies. One thing that I can take before we begin this session is consistency and discipline were the two key areas that helped them achieve their goals. So I'll begin with this session with both of these students. The modus operandi of the session is very, very simple. The questions that you have submitted to me, I have jotted down all those questions. I'll be asking both of them the questions that you have posed. Towards the end of the session, we'll have a 15-minute question and answer session, which will be open to all of you. In case you have any questions which are left or you want to be answered, I'll very well ask those questions to you on your behalf. Perfect. I hope we are ready to begin. Tabitha, I hope I'm audible, visible to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. So Tabitha, the first question comes to you. Like 1 year of an MBA. What is an MBA course all about? If you can give it in brief.
Yes, sir. So I joined my MBA as a fresher at IIM Calcutta. So I did not have any kind of work experience. And I did my engineering at NIT Jamshedpur, as sir has already mentioned. But the way the teaching is held at other institutes and at IIM is entirely different. So till then, we experienced what a classroom teaching is. And weekly, sometimes we used to have some practicals going on in some labs, etc. But here at IIM, we can say the significant portion of learning and development, it comes from the life that you experience at campus and also the interaction that you make with your fellow students. That is entirely different. You will get to see, you will get to meet a set of batch who is unique in their characteristics, who is unique in their accomplishments. So we need not say everybody has been an excellent academic student right from the beginning. You can see someone who is good at writing, you can see someone who is good at singing, or any other talents that they have. Somebody who has represented the country somewhere else outside in foreign competitions or so. So all these kinds of things. So the point is that you will get to meet a unique set of people and you will learn from their experiences as well. So in my life, what I have believed is my experiences have taught me a lot. So when you meet an entire different set of people and their experiences also add to your teaching, so that is where the life at IIM Calcutta, or to say the life at any other MBA institute, make a difference. And when you talk about the MBA course, so this course, you can say it is designed to, before joining the course, I thought I would have a business on my own. So that is the main motive behind joining that course. But after joining that course, after going through it deep and understanding what MBA is and how we need to deal with the outside world, so my thoughts and my ambitions have changed quite a bit. So when you see this course, it helps students to see a global view in everything, not only from India point of view, but you'll have case studies, you'll have plenty of class discussions that are going on, or you'll have student presentations or simulation games, etc. So all these kinds of things are embedded into the course, to make it an effective course in learning point of view. And the major takeaway is the case studies that you work upon. So let's say there is a company, it has been in some losses for quite some period of time, and then it has performed very good in in the recent years. So there is a case study on that company, what difficulties it has faced, and we analyze it in groups. So the students, we analyze it beforehand in groups, and then we get ready for the next class that we have. Let's say we have a class tomorrow, so tonight we sit, we analyze the case study in groups, we have a discussion, and then in the class, so first we'll have a discussion with the professor. So it is not at all like a one-way teaching, but it is a two-way teaching that happens, because our professors always mention that we learn from you. So professors also say that we learn from each other. So it is like a two-way teaching that happens. So we keep a discussion there even in the class, and then at the end of the class, that is where the professor gives his point of view as well, from his experience, whatever he has seen. So it is like every day new points get added to the course, new points get added to the curriculum and all. So this is how the learning at MBA is. And of course you will have specific skills. You will learn specific skills in areas like finance, marketing, operations, etc. So based on your interest, you can pick one of them, or you can do a general management where you have a fine grip in all of these areas as well. So this is how a brief about MBA is.
Perfect, Kavita, perfect. That was a beautiful answer from your end. Chandana, the next question comes for you. What kind of subjects are there, and what kind of experience can one have at the college?
Thank you, Sandeep sir, for such a lovely introduction. And to start with, yes, so the MBA curriculum is way different from the curriculums which we saw from 10th to inter to engineering or any undergraduate graduation, because everything is updated. Like yesterday, you have something going on in the market or a new budget launch. The next day, you are going to discuss it. It's really, really dynamic. And to start with, the first year, everyone is at IMC, everyone is going to have the same curriculum. Like you will not have any specialization in the first year. You'll have topics from finance to analytical subjects. You will have personal development subjects where you will learn what a person you are. Also, there are subjects related to psychology also, where you will understand like how your thought process is. And then you will have strategy courses where you will understand what the strategy of the company is. From big companies, like you can take any big company, we will have a case study in it, we analyze the things, we try to learn not only from the professors, mostly from our peers, because they have many of them have work experience, they have seen the market, and we understand from them. Moving ahead, like say in our first term, it's really the MBA schedule is really academic titan. Like you have so much of things going on. It's the academic things suffocates us, but we try to learn so much from it. And when what kind of experience can one have at a college? You'll, as I have already mentioned, in such a short time, you learn so much. You learn so much. Not only from the case studies, we have projects where a team or a group are assigned so that we'll work upon case studies or assignments or anything. Then we have projects where we can take a single topic and we can learn. For example, we'll analyze the financial statement of Asian Paints. Maybe two or three friends will sit, we'll try to learn, yeah, this is where the company is good at and this is where the company should progress at. So and then comes the marketing thing, where which I love doing marketing courses where they are really engaging. Mostly it's not that in engineering we see the professor comes, he teaches, but in MBA it's really different. We have class participation where people are speaking, people put their opinions forward, and even the professors get to know, yeah, this is one way of thinking. We learn so much that these type of things also exist. Before going to MBA, I never thought that the business will be of a single business will have these many aspects, like from environmental aspects, from legal aspects. We have a course on legal structure of India. We have a course on education system of India. We have a course on environmental things which the companies face while establishing a company. So there are a lot of things going on, but at the end you will get a proper knowledge of how to establish a business, how to move your business forward and see success. So that's
Okay. Perfect, Chandana. So the next question again to you, Chandana. So this question comes down from an engineering graduate, I think,
yeah.
but I like to generalize it to non-engineering graduates as well. Is the MBA course difficult for those who have graduated as an engineer? So there are a lot of students who keep asking me this question: is the MBA course difficult for those who have graduated as an engineer? Because commerce students technically would find it a lot easier.
Yep. Okay, so to answer that, I am an engineer. Tabitha is also an engineer, as you know, and 90% of students in any IIM are engineers. So you are all on the same level. And to be precise, yes, the commerce people have their upper hand in financial subjects, maybe, or a commerce subjects, but the engineers have upper hand in quant subjects, the analytical subjects. They can do well. So both of them have their own advantages. Both of them have their own strong points. And even in the college, as you go, you will learn what are your strengths. Like, are you doing well in marketing, or are you doing well in finance? You will understand your own strengths. So it's not dependent upon are you an engineer, or are you a person from commerce or architecture or any other different courses. It's same for everyone. Of course, everyone have their own strong points where you can work upon in future. So,
yeah. Perfect. So MBA, I think from your perspective, means it is good for everyone if one is prepared for it.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, Tabitha, the next question for you. Tabitha, am I audible, visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tabitha, if you can answer this, what kind of aspirational changes does the IIM environment bring in one?
Tabitha, you are on mute.
Yes, so I was unable to unmute myself.
Okay, Tabitha, now it's fine.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. So, yes, sir, I heard your question. What kind of aspirational changes do IIM environment brings in one?
Yes.
So I can maybe take this with an example of how my aspiration changed from before MBA to after MBA. So before MBA, we know that IIM Calcutta is a very good campus for finance. So wherever you talk about it, the point of finance always comes up. And so I thought maybe I'll go to IIM Calcutta and definitely do take up finance as my specialization and work on it. But after I went there, what I realized was I was very much interested in marketing. So as Chandana said, she is also interested in marketing. So it is the same with me as well. The marketing courses were quite engaging and quite interactive. So I got pulled towards marketing. And even the class participation, or how interactive the classes are, and the case studies and everything. So I got interested towards marketing. And one point is that the understanding of finance that you have as an outsider is completely different from that when you as an insider.
Tabitha, you need to unmute yourself again.
Yes, sorry for the disturbance.
No,
So
that's okay.
yes, so the understanding of anything, so what I understand as an outsider about finance is completely different when I go inside and see how the environment is and how exactly what finance is. It is the same way about marketing or strategy or consulting or anything. So your understanding as an outsider is completely different. And when you go inside the college, so you'll understand it in a from a very close point of view. And also you'll consider all the other changes, all the other factors into consideration. as Chandana mentioned, the environment or the legal factors, etc. All this, I don't know what it is at all when I look at it as an outsider. So your perspective entirely changes. When your perspective changes, the things that you are interested upon might change. For me, it changed from finance to marketing. Again, for you, it may not be the same. You might stick yourselves to finance, and you might go into that. But whatever you choose, the fundamentals for every subject or the fundamentals for everything will be provided very clearly right from the first session. So all the other factors that are influencing, the internal factors, the external factors, to do anything in the corporate world, or be it technology, or be it any ethical factors, all these you'll have a clear idea right from the basics as a fundamental. So whatever you choose, the course will the course will definitely be there to support you. So when you have a change in your ideology, or when you have a change in your ambition, it is nothing to worry about. But indeed, the course is always there to support you. Another thing is my ambitions. About sir already mentioned that I am passionate about public speaking. So I have been doing this right from my schooling. So I participated in various events, and even in my engineering, I hosted one or two events, not many. But after going to IIM, I got the chance to develop that part of my personality as well. So the Toastmasters Club that we are talking about here, it is about leadership and public speaking. So I could get into that club. I could take up initiative, and finally in the second year, today I stand as a president, and Chandana stands as a vice president in that club. So this, when I joined in this club, right now when I see it, there are many connections that I get to the club. I get to interact with people outside, people from TCS, people from Infosys companies. There are many world leaders or motivational speakers who are in the field for 20, 30 years. So there is a lot of connections that you make. So whatever your goal is, let's say you are interested in singing, there is a club for singing where you are connected to your fellow people who are interested in singing, your alums, etc. Let's say you are interested in dancing, there is a club for dancing. Even let's say you are interested in pets, so there is also a club in our institute where people who are interested in pets, feeding cats, dogs, etc. Even for them, there is a club. So whatever your interest it is, apart from academics, even there the institute will be there to support you. Even there you will have your common set of peers who are interested in the same field, and you can grow and learn from each other. So that is a difference that I found apart from my academics, and that is enough to improve your overall personality and develop yourself in the future, not only your career but your overall individual personality as well.
Perfect, Tabitha. Beautifully said. Now, the next question for you, Chandana. So what kind of placements happen at the college, and what skill sets are companies looking for?
Okay, thank you, Sandeep. So, as you know, there is a lot of anxiety with respect to placements for everyone, including me. I was also thinking what type of companies come to IIM Calcutta. So, to answer that, all the type of companies come to IIM Calcutta, right from what you see, Zomato, Uber, Swiggy, everything. Almost all companies come to IIM Calcutta. So, coming to the roles, I would like to start first with the finance role. There will be many top class finance companies, IB companies coming to IIM Calcutta. And what they are looking for is something like maybe a CFA. If you are, I would encourage people, if you want to write CFA and clear few levels, CFA would be a good start for you. And then if you have any interest with respect to finance, like if you have worked in a bank or you tried something in finance, to write a paper in finance, or are you from commerce background, you did, it's like if you are interested in finance, the company people should know from your work that you are interested in finance, do something in finance. So next is consulting, where people what consulting companies do is they design strategy for another companies to grow. So this is So what the company will be looking is your thought process, what you have done in your life. If you are going to solve some other company's problems, that means you should have a really clear idea and picture. So that's what a consulting company sees in a person. Next would be marketing. So coming to marketing, as you know, it's marketing. I think it's a little bit underrated. People concise, put a concise to everything, but I think it's way more. It's way more. It's the most important thing where people will know about your brand or your company. So what the marketing companies look at is how your ideas are, how creative you are. If a problem is given, how is your approach? That's what marketing companies look at. Next is an operations role. Operations are the logistics, or how is your distribution channel. That's how the operations companies usually work. And I think a bit of more analytical skills is what the operations companies generally look into. The theories, the algorithms, maybe even like what do you say in the coding and things. The analytical stuff goes under the operations domain. Next is product management, which is also growing career for many people. uh, if you are given a product, for example, maybe a powder, then how are you going to design it? What is the type of packaging? What is the color you are using for the package? What is the powder made of? How it's going to benefit for people? Everything, right from A to Z, for a single product, the product manager takes care. That's product management. Then we have general management, where this is a different role. It's not only confined to particular thing like marketing, consulting, where general management gives the overall view. It includes strategy, it includes operations also, it includes product designing of product also. That's general management. I think I have covered almost all the verticals, but I would encourage people, don't decide right now that I'm going to take finance role, I'm going to take marketing role. But when you go and experience in IIM, and even the courses are coming in, they are also, the courses will come and they will help you understand what a marketing role is, what a finance role is. So that's when I would encourage you to decide where you want to go. That's regarding the placements and stuff.
Perfect, Chandra. So I hope you have answered questions well. And there's another question for you. That is how I believe. Now, the next question for you, Chandra, again, like profile building. How do you build a good profile? What can be done for profile building?
Yeah. Okay. This is the most interesting question. Yes, it's really important to build a profile. If I am saying I'm interested in singing, it's not the opposite person or the recruiters or even the teachers. They need to see that you are really passionate regarding singing. What have you done? Did you start? Did you perform anywhere? Did you start blogging, or how did you express your love for singing, or that matter writing, what not? If you are really interested in reading, so why not take some books, and write reviews, publish them online, or write some blogs, show that you are really interested in your stuff. So that's how a good profile makes. It's not that you need to have so many things, but I would say take one thing and go really ahead. Like people should know that you are really interested in public speaking. If you see Tabitha, she's interested in public speaking. She has done so many competitions, she really performed. So that's when people get to know, yeah, she's interested in public speaking. So just telling your hobbies as singing, dancing, painting, or anything will not make sense until you perform or try to achieve something. So this is an ample amount of time you have. So write blogs or reviews, publish your stories on Instagram, or there are people who are avid writers and they published on Amazon Prime, like Amazon Kindle, and their books have become bestsellers. So try to achieve something in your field so that every people will look towards you. when this is regarding hobbies and all. So if you want to build a career profile with respect to academics, I would like to suggest try to work, take some projects in engineering or interns or live projects which are related to business maybe. Like there are many marketing projects available for undergraduates as well. So try to take up those type of opportunities and never leave any opportunity. While I was in my engineering, like in my final year, I thought I'll completely concentrate on CAT. I will leave all the things aside, all the clubs or anything, only CAT. But it's not at all like that. Don't leave anything. Just don't leave any opportunity. If you are getting to be a member of a core team, or you are getting any position, or try to participate in all the things. Participate in different competitions which are available with respect to cultural fest or any technical fest. Don't leave any opportunity. It's not like if you are going to prepare CAT, you are going to be in a room, you are studying and doing stuff. That's not at all that. You have to go out, interact with people, show your mark and presence everywhere. That's my answer.
Perfect, perfect. So what you are trying to say, Chandana, is you need to be not a jack of all trades, but you need to be a master of one. Is
Yes.
what I understand. So whatever you are invested in, stay invested full time and do really well at whatever one thing that you are trying to achieve.
Yes.
Okay. So Tabitha, the next question comes to you now. This is now with respect to CAT preparations.
Yes.
Okay. Like, how could one prepare for CAT while maintaining good grades at the educational level? That is one question, and post that you answer that question, I'll ask you the second question as well. So the first question is how to prepare for CAT while maintaining good grades at the educational level.
Yes, sir. So I'll take this again from an example. So I mean, when I was doing my engineering, so even I had to manage both, dividing so maintaining good grades as well as CAT, because if I don't have one, I won't get a chance to get into a good college of my choice. So what do you do to manage both? So you need to allot some time for both, not equally, but according to their weightage. For me, let's say my engineering portion that I had to cover or I had to study was low, so I could allot more time for CAT. So indeed, your grades are very good till then suppose you started preparing and for CAT and you're in your last semester in your engineering or your graduation, or whatever you're taking up, you're in your last semester. If your grades are very good till then you'll know that you need not allot much time for engineering, but your graduation, but rather allot more time for CAT. So two things I would like to tell here is, one, divide time according to the weightage of the courses or according to your capabilities. Next, do not procrastinate any of the works. If you procrastinate CAT preparation, that would be a very bad choice that you're making, because when you do it every day, when you prepare it every day, indeed you need to increase your time when the exam comes near. So let's say how I prepared. Till August, I had these weekly classes going on where Sandeep sir and team, they used to come to our college and do a 2-hour session. So weekly we used to have two to three classes like that. So that's how it went on till August. From August, on August 31, I got placed in a company in NIT. So after I got placed, what did I have? I had a backup in my hand. So I was confident, but to have that, to increase my confidence and to prepare for CAT without looking at anything else, I thought I need to have a backup job in my hand. So after I got this placement on August 31st, so that is when I started preparing for CAT entirely. So in the weekends, I used to allocate time for my engineering, but in the weekdays, most of the time, I just went and attended the classes. When you attend the classes, I am talking about the engineering classes. So when you attend the classes, when you listen to the professors, when they explain, when you listen to it with full enthusiasm, then you need not spend much time in it. So however, you're losing your time in preparation for CAT by attending the engineering classes. So when you do that with interest and enthusiasm, when you do it sincerely, you need not allocate much time for your engineering. So when you come back home after classes, the remaining time that you have, we used to come back to our hostel by 4 p.m. or so. So I used to take a break till 6 p.m. and after 6 p.m. till night, or some 3 to 4 hours I used to spend every day. But in the last 1 month or 2 months, I started increasing that time to 6 hours. And then when the exam was 1 month away, I started increasing to 8 hours. And when I had given this 8 hours, obviously I'll decrease my time in my engineering academics, but I'll not see that it is damaging my grades. So if I'm unable to do it on weekdays, I'll do it on the weekends. On the weekends, I'll devote it for engineering, and on the weekdays, I'll devote it for CAT. Or either ways, if you want to, if you have some exams and you need to devote your weekdays for engineering, then weekends entirely you put it for CAT. Weekends you will have maybe Saturday and Sunday is a holiday, then you will have almost 8 to 10 hours to study. So you can use that time for CAT, but make sure that nothing is hampered, because having a good grades is equally important to getting a good percentile in CAT. When you have a very good percentile, you know some IIMs, they keep a cap on your CGPA. For example, IIM Ahmedabad, for OC last year when I joined, there was a cap in the CGPA. People who are below 7.9, they were not given a call. So it would be according to your background also. In engineering, people who were less than 7.9, they were not given a call. This is when I gave an attempt. This is the year when I gave an attempt. So there is a cap on CGPA in many colleges. So you need to maintain both well. So I would say divide your time according to your capability and according to your the schedule in the curriculum, and then you can go ahead with both.
Perfect, Tabitha. I hope you are not exhausted, because the next question again comes to you as well. Okay. Now, this is a very, very pertinent question. Coming to CAT, and a lot of students, they fear it, because this is one section wherein you are not very sure of the answer. I hope you get what I am talking in terms of, like, a lot of students have put this question: how to score good marks in the verbal ability section?
Yes, sir. So talking about verbal ability, we know that, give me a minute. Yes. So we have 34 questions in verbal ability, right? So among them, significant number of questions, they go into the passages. So even I felt very serious issues dealing with verbal ability, and Sandeep sir here is the evidence. So I used to face a lot of difficulties in the beginning, but how I improved is that reading newspapers, especially the articles. This is not something that I did right from the beginning, which I should have done it, but I did not do it right from the beginning, but I did it in the last 2 months or so. But even that helped me a lot. So now that you have time and we are still in July, my sincere advice to you is to start reading newspapers, especially the editorial section in the newspaper. That is because, one, you will get used to that tough language. You may not understand it the very first day, but later, once you keep on reading newspaper, keep on reading the editorials, you'll get used to that language and you will understand what the content is. The second thing is that when you read newspapers, it would also help you in your interview process. So though that is 2 steps away from CAT, but it will really help you a lot in the interview process. So that is the reason why I say read newspapers. And apart from that, for any section, my choice is practice. As much as you practice, you can develop yourself in that section. Let's say you are very good in quant and you are lacking in verbal ability, give some more time for verbal ability. If you give 1 hour for quant, give 2 hours for verbal ability, and try. I would say that right now, because still you have 4 more months for CAT, 4 to 5 months for CAT. So right now you have the time to improve yourself in verbal. So give more time to it and start doing more passages. So do at least 2 passages a day. I think that's not more. I'm not asking for more. So do at least 2 passages a day, and do a para jumble. So all these will help you. As much as you practice, you'll get used to that language. And when you practice, make sure you do the analysis. This is common for any of the field that you take up, doing an analysis. So we were told, like, if you give a 3-hour mock, you need to do the analysis for 6 hours. Also, although I did not do it for 6 hours, but we did it for 4 hours at least. Analyzing a mock, it would take nearly 4 hours when you do it in a correct way. So even the same thing with the verbal ability also, when you attempt a passage, analyze it. Where did you go wrong? What understanding of the sentence went different? And what is the perspective that is asked in the sentence, asked in the question, and what was your perspective? Why did it go different? Analyze for yourself. Verbal ability, it takes more time to analyze, because in quant, you have the exact solution, you have a formula that you are using, and you have everything in front of you. But verbal ability, there is a little process modification that you need to do from your side. So the way you approach a question should be different. So all these will come when you practice more. And one more thing is that read passage very carefully. There might be one word or one line in the passage that could alternate the entire argument in a different way. So read it very carefully, give some time for reading. And one more thing that I did in the end was, in the last 1 month, for let's say there are 4 paras in a passage, 4 paragraphs. So in the first paragraph, when I was reading, I just noted down the important points, maybe in 3 to 4 words. What is the crux of that paragraph? Then in the second paragraph, I noted the important points again in 3 to 4 words. So in that way, when the question is asked, again, I need not go through the entire passage, like where is this point about? So I can see from the words that I noted, and I can get back to that point, and I can start analyzing that. In this way, this might reduce your time.
Okay, perfectly well said, Tabitha. Now the next question to you again. I'm asking you a lot of questions, but fine, this is what I have got from the students. Now the next question again, Tabitha. What was your daily approach towards the CAT paper? Like, let's say if you can detail, like the last 2 months or 3 months, you said you were serious. So if people are serious for the next 4 months, I believe they can achieve whatever they want to do. So if I have to ask you, what was your daily approach towards quants, VARC and LRDI? If you can elaborate on that, that would be really nice.
Yes, sir. So the first thing, the materials that I used is only the Career Launcher login. So in the beginning, I felt that I need to refer to other books as well. But when I was going along, I understood that I don't need anything else except the login series that we are having. So in the login, you know that there are topic-wise tests, you know that there are sectionals, right? So first I started doing the topic-wise tests. When I did the topic-wise test, it is only a 10-minute test. So I used to do it in my breaks. When I go to class also, the Career Launcher app. So I downloaded that app, and I used to do the topic-wise test during the breaks, something like that. So in that way, I started doing the topic-wise test for almost a week. In the beginning, when I started a serious preparation in August, so I did that for a week. At the end of the week, I gave a sectional in 3 of the sections. I gave a quant, I gave a LRDI, and I gave a VARC. So in quant, you clearly know in the analysis, like what is the segment that you're lacking in. For example, you are not doing well in algebra, then again, I go back to the topic-wise tests of algebra for that week. Or let's say I'm not doing well in permutations, the permutations, I go to that topic. So this is how I approached it. Whatever the section that I am lagging, I started doing more topic-wise tests in that. And every weekend, I used to give this sectional test, at least two in a week or every weekend. In the beginning, it was 2 in a week. In the beginning, it was every weekend. And as the time approached, I started giving 2 sectionals in a week. And the mocks, I followed the schedule that is used in Career Launcher. So whenever the mock is released, then I used to attempt it. So the mock goes live, and then you get it for analysis, right? So when the mock goes live, I used to attempt it, because that duration is a perfect duration. So other than that, if you say I will give 2 mocks a week or I'll give 3 mocks a week, it does not make sense, because giving a mock alone will not increase your capability of dealing with a section. But indeed, you need to know where you are weak and work on that section in particular. And when I give a mock, let's say I'm not doing well in VARC, then I allocated more time in VARC. So these are the things that I did after giving a sectional, looking at the section, looking at that topic where I am weak and working upon that. After giving a mock, looking at a section where I am weak and going on practicing that. And the common thing for everything is analyzing. Even after a 10-minute test, or even after a sectional, or even after a mock, analyzing your answers is very important, and noting down the mistakes. Let's say I did not remember a formula, that is why I did wrong in a question. I note that formula in a separate book. Maintain this book, it will definitely help you till the last day of the exam. So the last day, you may not give a mock and see how is your performance, but rather you would like to go back and refer again whatever you have done wrong in the past days. So have a book like this, have a book, and maintain the formulas on one side. Maintain you can also maintain your mistakes where you are going wrong always, and you need to correct that. So maintain a record like this. It would and go through that record before attempting every mock, and also before attempting CAT, of course. But when you go through that book before attempting every mock, you might do better comparatively, because you're checking your mistakes and you are analyzing where you did wrong, and you're trying to improve that in the next mock. So this is how I approached it.
Perfect, Tabitha. I believe you have answered a lot of what my next question was supposed to be. I have helped Chandana in her answer in quite a manner. So Chandana, the next question for you. This is a very important question that has been asked to me. A lot of students are very anxious, very nervous. This might be your quiz last year, I believe, as well. The question is, will I get a 90 percentile or above if I start my preparations in July?
Yes. So I'll tell, if you are putting your 100% hard work and determination, yes, you can. And I'm the live example, because I also started, I definitely had an idea of I'm going to give CAT, but I didn't think I'll go as a fresher. I thought after 1 or 2 years, but then in like at the start of August, that's when I have decided, yes, I'll go for CAT this year. And for me, I had Tabitha, and she also helped me. So it's 100% yes, that if you are determined and you work hard, then you can get 90 percentile plus. So our approach should be different, because as you see, some people, many people prepare from year like 1 or 2 years. But if you are starting from July, I would definitely say planning is very, very important, because you need to plan what things you are doing on a daily level, then on a weekly level, and then on a monthly level. You need to analyze things. As Tabitha perfectly said, that it's very important to know where your weak points are and where your strong points are. And if you are preparing from July, it's really important to get your strong points. I felt I was weak in VARC and strong in Quant. So it's 100%. I definitely concentrated on Quant more, because by hook or crook, I wanted to get the high percentile in that. So yes, you can get. Yeah.
Perfect, Chandana. I hope the next question, again, which is a very similar question. What things and topics should I focus on to get into the top 5 IIMs? That means I need to get into high percentile. What are the things and topics that I should focus on to get into the top 5 IIMs, if I have to say that?
Okay. So personally, I don't think you concentrate on top IIMs or anything like that. Concentrate on CAT, concentrate on interviews, concentrate on MBA. Don't just put top IIMs in your mind and work for that. So if I am telling this answer with respect to CAT, So first thing, as Tabitha rightly pointed, read articles, read newspaper articles, read analysis of articles. There are many analysis of, if you are personally, what I felt was, I'm not a person who reads the newspaper. So what I did was, in YouTube, I searched the daily analysis of Hindu newspaper, where the all the editorial columns are explained in a video. So I have it was very very insightful and useful for me with respect to interview perspective as well, because in newspaper it's not like if you are starting from this month, you are going to get the content of previous months also, like what happened in past year or past 2 years. So newspapers are really important, first one. And of course, if you are concentrating on CAT, a good percentile is really really important. And as Tabitha has already said, how to prepare to get a good percentile, I think you should definitely follow that approach. And not only after getting a good percentile, don't just leave it there. Interview and GD are really really important, and VAT also, they are really important. So for that I would suggest general knowledge, read books, because in VRC what happens is, it takes time. For example, I'm a slow reader, like for a single passage I spend more time in comparison to other. So when you read more stuff, start reading more stuff, then you will understand like which topics are important, what it's not important to read all the lines in a paragraph, right? Only some are important. So you'll get to know what are the important lines in a paragraph, you will highlight them. That's the main focus on. Next, I would say, don't try to figure out which are the passages you are going to attempt. If you are trying to attempt all the passages in the DI section, you are not going to make it. So definitely understand. It's very important to understand what is a easy question and what is a difficult question in CAT. Easy question, you should never ever leave it. If you are spending 2 seconds, like 30-second extra on easy question, it's okay, but it's important to get it right. And if you are understanding it's a difficult question, leave it to the end, it's okay, because you need to get the easy questions right. That's the main focus and target. That was my approach towards CAT exam also. Yes.
Perfect, Chandana. So basically, the basic idea is fall in love with the easy questions and hate the difficult questions.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. So the next question again for you, Tabitha. As to minimum, how many mocks? Like, people are fearful of mocks. Even today, I was talking to some of the students. They said, "Sir, I've not taken a single mock." I asked, "Why don't you take mocks?" So I said, "Dar lagta hai." So that is the general trend that I see among almost 50 to 60% of the students. But let's say to get into an IIM and to get into a good college, something that is very, very important is to take mocks. So my question to you would be, minimum how many mocks? I'm thinking not maximum. Maximum would be all the mocks that are there. But minimum at least, how many mocks should a student take before they actually give the CAT examination? We know, this is what I am interested in, and this is what I'll get.
Yes. So this is the same feeling that even I had when I took my first mock. I think I got around 780 or something as my score, and I was so disheartened. But even I was afraid before taking my first mock. But I say you need to take that first step definitely, because without giving mocks we cannot go ahead in our preparation. And minimum number of mocks, I would say, whenever a mock goes live, you take that mock. Apart from that, if you ask me a minimum number, maybe 15 to 20. I think that 15 to 20, as in for a month, at least you need to take a mock, at least a weekly one you need to take it. That in the beginning, okay, let me tell you from beginning. In August, you can take a mock once in every 20 days or so. So we have August, September, and November, right? So in August, you can take a mock every 15 to 20 days. So in that way, you will take 2 in a month. And when you go to September, try taking 1 every week. So September in the first phase, for the first 2 weeks, try taking 1 every week. And when you go to the September last 2 weeks, try taking at least 2 per week. So that would be helpful, because the first 3 days you can that would be the moment when you need to increase your preparation a bit, because you have only a month away. And September, in the second half, try taking 2 per week. Do one mock in 3 days. Let's say I did a mock on Monday, I'll take Tuesday to analyze it, then I'll take Wednesday to prepare for it again, then Thursday or Friday I'll take a mock again. So when you feel you are not you need some serious preparation to be worked upon, or some serious sections to be concentrated on, then give it a break, prepare sectionals, and prepare the topic wise test, and then get back to it again. But my recommendation is definitely take one a week. When you are 1 month away, definitely you have to take one a week or more, but don't take less than that. But in July or so, try taking once in every 15 days or more. I would say 3 in a month or so. Taking a mock, sorry to interrupt, sir. Taking a mock would be extremely helpful. If not a mock, try taking sectionals at least. Even sectionals would really work a lot. So if you are unable to sit for 3 hours in the beginning and do, but you need to habituate yourself for that. But in the beginning, if you are unable to sit for 3 hours and do it, then try taking sectionals, take a break, and then give it again.
So, Tabitha, what you are saying is a total of 15 mocks.
Yes.
Out of the many mocks that we have. So before a person takes CAT, at least 15 mocks have to be attempted to ensure a good score in CAT. So this would be a good message for all the people out here. 15 is a benchmarking figure here. Okay.
I just want to add a small point.
Yes.
Like, I would encourage people before giving CAT, take at least 2 mocks in the CAT center. Like, I want people to get the experience of the mock, how it will be in a center. Because when I was attempting CAT in my room, I was sitting in a comfortable position. I was having my laptop and everything in position. But in actual CAT exam, you will not have that way. So me and Tabitha, we came to CL center and we gave 2 mocks there. So I would encourage people to definitely do that. That would be very helpful. And you can see the difference in marking also. You will score a bit low because of the environment, but it's really important. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So taking a test in a test center is very, very different from taking a test at home. But presently, if I feel that would not happen before October, I think, Chandana, because of the COVID situation on, people are not allowed to come down to the Career Launcher Center.
So the same will be to CAT exam also, sir. The CAT exam will be delayed. So definitely, at least you will have a month before you can try.
Yes, definitely. We'll always have a month before the COVID situation improves and the test is taken. Definitely, that will definitely be there. Tabitha, the next question for you. A lot of people have this question again. My undergraduate CGPA is somewhere around 7.5, but I have a 10 CGPA in my standard 10 and 82% in standard 12. This is one of the students' question. 82% in standard 12, a 10 CGPA in standard 10, and a 7.5 CGPA at the undergraduate level. How much percentile do I need to get into an IIM A, B, or a C?
Yes. If you are an OC candidate for boys, it might be around 99.6 or plus. For girls, it can be around 98.9 or 99 plus. Because I have seen from my experience, because the people who have low CGPA in the engineering, they could not get calls from a good number of institutes. The one thing is that we have a cap for certain institutes. As I already mentioned, for IIM Ahmedabad, we looked at it when we were attempting CAT. I did not look at it last year, but when we were attempting, there was a cap of 7.9. So beyond that, though you get 100 percentile, you won't get a call from that, because the cap of engineering is at 7.9. So in the same way, there might be cap for some of the institutes, but if there is no cap, if you are at 7.5, then you need to achieve a percentile of 99.5 plus. If you are a boy and girl, 8.9 plus. And I don't know about the other categories, sir. Around
Okay,
9.
perfect. So let's say I would put it like this: A, B, C. If you are from a non-engineering background, if you are a female, you would definitely get it 95. Like the agricultural graduates in an IMA somewhere around 88, 89 percentile. If you see, I was looking at an English honors graduate from Dehradun, got into an IIM Ahmedabad at somewhere around 96 percentile in CAT. So if you are a non-engineer, a non-male, if I put it like this, or let's say a female candidate, the chances of getting into an IIM ABC at lower percentiles is definitely very high. Engineers, a 99 percentile or a 97, 98 percentile. Okay.
I would like to add something to this. I think there is if I'm not wrong, there is a section that is on the website of Career Launcher, where when we input our engineering grades and our 10th, 12th percentile, then we'll have a predictor where it would say IMA, the minimum percentile you need to get is so and so. So there is a section in Career Launcher website, I think. I used to look at that. After I give every mock, I used to look at that. So even that gives you a fair idea of where you stand and if you, how much you need to get a call from that institute.
Perfect. That is the IIM Profilizer. So all these students can definitely use the IIM Profilizer to see how much percentiles they need to score, and that would give them a good idea as to how much hard work that everyone needs to put in order to get into the IIM of their choice. That's perfect. Tabitha, the next, again, a question for you as well is the most important aspect, time management. Time management with respect to CAT. How do I manage my time with respect to CAT?
Yes, sir. So you know very well that you need not attempt all the questions in CAT, right? If you attempt all the questions, it doesn't mean that you're going to score the best. So what I did and what worked for most of us is, this is also a suggestion put forward by our trainers. And the first thing is to pick up the right set of questions. So that is extremely important. So picking up, they asked us to go through the paper in 3 sets. In the first time, when you look at the entire paper, you go with the easy set of questions. Like when you see a question, you will know that you will not take time in answering that. It will be solved very soon. And it is not tough, or the formula or the process of doing it is not tough. So those questions you pick up in the first time and you solve all those questions. Let's say you have 10 questions like that in paper, you'll solve all those 10 to 15 questions. Then again, you'll look at the paper second time. The second time you'll pick up the questions where the solving, the time to that time taken to solve the questions might be more, but you will definitely get the answer. You're sure that you'll get the answer, but the time might be the time that you take might be more. So in the second time, I tried solving all these kind of questions. And third time, then you will start attempting these difficult questions, which you do not have idea about, but then you will try answering those questions. So this is how I attempted. And you have 1 hour for each of these. Maybe in the first 25 minutes, you need to finish that first set, because those are easy questions and they will not take time. So you need to take that first go in 25 minutes for every section. Then in the next 15 to 20 minutes, you can take that second go where questions are taking time, but then you will definitely get the answer. And then the remaining time that you have, you can allot for answering the difficult questions. So looking at the LRDI passages, among the 8 passages that you have, you may not answer everything. So first I'll go to those passages which I'm comfortable about. For example, I was comfortable in arrangements. So whenever I see the paper, I used to search for these arrangements first. I pick up that passage and then I answer those questions. Or maybe you're comfortable with data interpretation. When you look at bar graphs or pie charts, you're comfortable with that, then go with that first. So first pick up those passages where you know you'll get all the answers and easily. Then second time you can pick up those passages where it will take time for solving, but then you'll get all the answers. Then in the third time, there would be these passages where you may not get answers for 4 of the questions, but you may get answers for 2 questions, or you can get answer for 1 question at least in the passage. Then you can try solving these in the third time when you refer it. The same with VARC, also look for the easy passages in the first go, and then look for easy but then time taking. I mean, it is a very long passage that you need to look at. Good, look for it in the second go. In the third go, you can look at the remaining difficult ones where the language is tough and it is tough for you to understand and analyze.
Okay. Tabitha, again, the next question for you as well only. The ideal number of questions to be attempted in each section to get a good percentile. What would be the ideal number? Like I consider a 95 percentile as or a 99 percentile as a good percentile. So let's see 99 percentile if I want to achieve. What would be the ideal number of questions to be attempted in each section to get a good percentile?
Yes, sir. Let me tell you my score that might help you. So in LRDI, I got 48 as my score. So it means I have attempted around 5 passages and I did it with 90% accuracy or so. My score was around 48. And in the same way, my quant score was around 50 and my VA score was around 55. VA was quite easy then. So I attempted almost all among the 34 questions. I attempted around 28 or 29, 28 to 30 questions, but I did a few mistakes in that. So my score was at 55. Now looking at a good number of questions, I can say among the 34 questions that you have in VARC, you can attempt around 20 to 25 questions. So 20 to 25 questions when you attempt, you would get a score of around 50 to 60. And for LRDI, you have 32 questions. Among that, you can attempt around 22 questions or so, 20 to 22 questions, which means you will have to do around at least 4 passages correct, and 5 and 6 you can do it partially correct at least. Then you might have a score of around 60 to 70 in LRDI. Then looking at quant, the people who are very good with quant, they go for attempting 28 questions or so. Almost 28 to 30 questions they go for attempting, the people who are very good with quant. But if you are not comfortable, I was not so comfortable with quant, so I stand at attempting 25 or 24 questions. So this is how I attempted. But again, I cannot say this is the ideal set of attempting questions, because someday VARC might be very easy. Then you need to attempt more in that. The quant might be very tough. Then even attempting 15 questions in quant would do great. So it depends upon the paper also, which section is easy. For us, VARC was very easy when we attempted. So we attempted more in VARC, and quant was quite tough. As you know, IIM Calcutta itself gave the paper that year. And whenever it gives the paper, the quant would be extremely tough. It was the same that year also. And we attempted less questions in quant comparatively. People who otherwise would have attempted 30 questions in quant, that day they were able to do only 25. So it depends upon the paper also. But other than that, 20 to 25 would be a good attempt in each of the sections.
Perfect, Tabitha. Chandana, the next question comes to you. Chandana, I hope I'm audible, visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, these are testing times, COVID times. You are also struggling. I'm also struggling. Everyone else is struggling. Now, a very, very important question is what I consider this. How to stay motivated, and what do you do to keep yourself motivated during this pandemic situation? And CAT being at the back of the mind, how do I stay motivated in my preparation during these COVID times?
Okay. So I feel this is the best time to concentrate on CAT, and I see many people are also doing that. So you are having time. So this is the best time. Put all your efforts. Plan your day properly. So what you are going to do morning, afternoon, evening, and spend at least half an hour to review all the things which you have learned today. And it's really important to stay motivated, because I personally feel that this year, and also stats are speaking that this year many people will be attempting CAT. So it's really important for you to stay motivated. You have to learn things, go better, and it's the time when I say you need to see the past things, like read the past stuff, because after this like last year what happened with us, during the interviews we had the elections was the main focus, but this time I think the COVID situation, how is the crisis, how are things affecting, like jobs affecting, how is going to be the market, and there are so many things going on. So I definitely think you need to put a track on all these things. These are really important, and please stay motivated, because is the I personally feel when I was in college, I had college and this going on at the same time, but now you are having this time, so use this time really effectively. Don't think, even if it's not for this year of CAT, please stay motivated, you may get it next year, so please stay motivated. That's my answer.
Also in addition to that, maybe something that would help you is, one thing is talk to people around you and then talk to your trainers as well. So this way, when you talk to people around you, you would know how your peers are studying, how they are preparing, and you can take some important points from them. So how many tests they are giving and how is it helping them. So when you talk to people around you, your fellow people who are preparing, then that might help you. And obviously, whenever I faced any issues, not only this pandemic situation. So when I was preparing, whatever issues that we faced, or I and Chandana faced together, we used to bring that to the notice of Sandeep sir or team who was there, and they gave us suggestions very easily. So this is a brilliant team that you have with you, and I would say make use of them. So initially, I was confident that I would get a good percentile, maybe 95 or so. And I'm not sure of getting a 99 percentile or making it to the top 3 IMs. Then I remember the words that Sandeep sir said me. He said, when you can make it to IMKL, why not try for IMABC? So these words, they stuck very strongly in my mind. So when we have the potential of making it to IM, L or K now, that you have 3 months away, or when you have the potential of scoring a 90 percentile now that you have 3 months away, try focus these 3 months. Moreover, you do not have many of the stuff happening. You don't need to go to your college every day. You can stay at home, and you have all these coming to your hand today. So now that you have 3 months ahead of you, why don't you make use of this time? So prepare more and target that 99 percentile. I can say nothing is impossible. And even for me, I never expected that I and Chandana, both of us, we never expected that we could make it into C in the first attempt. But we were there for each other. We talked to each other when we had a problem or when we had our preparation going on. If we both had a doubt on that, then we used to approach Sandeep sir or so. So in the same way, approach your friends and approach the trainers. They would be really there to help you. And since they have experience, lots of experience facing many batches, so your problem is nothing to them and they can immediately help you on the spot. And try taking these suggestions and incorporating them in your preparation.
And I remember, like, when I was weak in BARC, Tabitha used to support me, and the vice versa when she is weak. Even in our interview preparations, we were beside, our rooms were side by side. So we used to prepare together. So try to make small groups if possible, because peer learning is also important. You can learn from your friends as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Now the last few questions that I have. Chandra, this question I would like both of you to answer. How to prepare for interviews? This is a question that is to be taken up, let's say 6 months later, but again, giving an insight as to how did you prepare for your interview and how to prepare for the interviews.
I would say my complete interview preparation was done by Sandeep sir. Like from start to end, he guided me throughout. And what me and Tabitha used to do were, we used to attend 2 days sessions in a CL center. Then during the week, mainly with respect to VAT, we used to we used to select a random topic, we used to put the timer on, we used to write it, and we used to cross check each other. Like I used to read Tabitha's writings and mine Tabitha used to read, and we used to tell these these lines can be improved, these thoughts can be improved. So we used to learn from each other. That's one point. And second, we used to give mock interviews. We gave it to Sandeep sir, of course, and we both internally also gave mock interviews to each other. we used to prepare like specific questions. You need to prepare the answers definitely, like why MBA, like what are your interests, why why MBA as a fresher, why MBA after 2 years, why not as a fresher. There are so many predefined questions which you have to make your mind, you need to answer definitely. So be ready with them. And next one, the GK, the GK is really, really important. The newspapers are important. Read articles, and I remember that on Facebook page of CL we had 50 topics. So I and Tabitha used to write the 50 topics, and after writing, just Google it. Like, see what the views of others are also, so you can put more ideas on too. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Tabitha, I'll also like to have your views on the subject as to how to go about with the interview preparation.
Yes. So I'll describe an incident here. So when I was attempting my IIM Calcutta interview, I read the newspapers prior to that. So it was on 8th of March, I think. I read the newspapers till 7th of March. And then on 8th of March, I had my interview at 11 a.m. So obviously I did not read the newspaper that day. But then the panel was taking delayed. The panel was taking some amount of time. So I sat outside the room and I was just going through my phone. So that was when one article popped up, and I looked at that article. So it was a girl from Andhra Pradesh, and it was about a flight accident that happened. So when I went inside the panel, they asked me where I was from. So I said I'm from Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. And the immediate question they asked me was, there is a girl on the newspaper today. She is from Andhra Pradesh. She's from Guntur. Why is she on the newspaper today? So this question, you can understand how important it is to read the newspapers, including that day's newspaper, despite your interview at 8 a.m. or 11 a.m., whatever it is. So reading newspapers is very important. And suppose I read something today and after 1 month, I obviously don't remember what is it. So what I did was, we maintained a diary. So in that diary, let's say I noted the important points that are happening today. And obviously for every point, you need to have a statistic, the data which is backing up that point. So when you mention the data in your VAT, in your article, in the return test, or when you mention it in the interviews, when you mention data, that would leave a very good impression on the interviewer. So how do you remember that data? So that was what I did. I noted these important data points on a diary, and some brief about major issues that were going on. So Brexit was a major issue then, elections were a major issue then. So I noted important points, brief points about these topics as well. So even now, I know that it is a few months away, but then when you prepare, then also remember the important topics going on then. COVID, or how is the economy around the world. So you need to, nobody can tell you what they're going to ask that day. So you need to have a basic preparation in all the sections, but having a very good preparation among the topics around you is quite important. So you maintain that daily with reading every day's newspaper is quite important. So you cannot afford to neglect reading a newspaper for your interview. And then and when in an interview, it doesn't mean that you need to know everything or you need to know many things, but whatever you know, you need to present it in the best way possible. So for that, whatever little knowledge that you have, you try to structure it and you try to speak it out in a good way. So speaking out is very important, and that you can get by practice. So after your CAT, do not think it is over, but instead try attending these GD sessions, whether it is online or offline, then we may not know now, but whatever platform it is, try attending these GD sessions. So you might be nervous in the first moment, but as you practice these GD sessions, they would help you a lot. Try taking mock interviews, schedule your mock with your trainers, and try taking your mock interviews also. Even those, that would help you a lot. And whatever your background is, you need to have a fair idea about that also. If I am from engineering, I would be preparing 1 or 2 subjects that are quite important in my engineering. I would have a fair idea about that. 1, 2, or 3 subjects. So definitely if you are from engineering, they would take at least 1 subject and question you on that. Or if you are from commerce, they would take at least one topic and question you on that. So these things happen. Try having your favorite subject and research on that, then newspaper, then presenting yourself in the best way possible. So these are the 3 suggestions that I can give you.
To add to that, and please have a knowledge on your local things. Like I am from Vizag, so they asked what is Vizag famous for, and I was from Jamshedpur. And before 1 week, I saw there was status coming that in Jubilee Park, 100 years of Jamshedpur. And in one of the interview, the interviewer asked, "How old is Jamshedpur city?" Then I remembered there was a 100-year-old celebrations going on, and he was also from Jamshedpur. So that thing happened. So have knowledge on Jamshedpur, your local areas. They ask the health ministers, CMs of India, of Jharkhand, and also of Andhra Pradesh. So have a list of brief understanding of from where you belong. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect, Chandana. Perfect, Kavita. The last question from my end. Post that, I'll take some questions from the students. And this is again a very, very important question. If you look across the situation right now, how to get over with the fear of failing and keep pushing towards the important work that needs to be done. How to get out of the fear of failing and keep pushing yourselves towards saying, this is one thing that I want to achieve in my life.
Yes, sir. So one thing that I can say is to look at the bigger picture. This might sound a little bit, I don't know how it might sound, but I used to think many times about what would happen in case I get into IIM, or what would happen in case I achieve this 99 percentile in CAT. So I used to have that picture with myself. Always I used to figure it. How would my parents feel about it, or how would I feel about it? What would my career be after that? So this picture I always had in mind, and that picture motivated me to work and go forward. And one thing that always happens is when you give a mock, if you are not good that day, you might have a low score. So to not get carried away with that low score, it happens with everyone. It happens with every 100 percentiler or every 99 percentiler. So getting a low score in mock need not pull you down, but instead you need to look at what happened a day. Why did you go wrong? And then start working from the next day itself. So that would help you a lot. So do not get carried away with your low scores. In case you had those low scores now, there's a lot of time for you to prepare. So every one of us came out of this phase only. We started with very low scores, and then we started improving gradually. So when you practice enough, that practice would mean a lot. So you need not have a very right now you need not have the best scores in your hand, but then keep practicing. Do not give up, and do not give a break in your practice. That is also very important. Do not take a 15-day or 20-day break at this phase at all. If you are starting today, this will go on till the day you give the CAT. That is for sure. You are not going to take breaks in between. That is also important, because when you take that break, again, you will lose out on the important concepts or points, or you will lose out on getting habituated to that platform as well. So do not take break, though despite low scores, keep growing, and then have that picture that you are visualizing. So what are you going to do after you get this 99 percentile? So your life and your career would be entirely different. Whatever you're doing today, whether it is engineering or commerce or BA or whatever it is, but the perspective when you go there and the number of opportunities that you get is entirely different. And that should keep you motivated. That should be enough to keep you motivated, looking at the bigger picture. So now when you work hard, it is all worth it. So now when you give enough time or study 8 hours or 9 hours a day, keeping aside your entertainment or movies for some months, but it is all worth it. But I say do not get stressed yourself in that. I used to listen to a lot of music. So listening to music helped me. If something like playing is helping you, or if something like going outside and playing cricket is helping you, so take that time in the weekend or so, take a break, so refresh yourself every day, and then get back to studies again. Do not take that break. Yes.
Perfect, Tabitha. Now this brings me to my end of my questions. So I like the students, any questions if they have, they can use the chat box. I have already got 2 questions which I like to ask. So Chandana, this question would be for you. This question is being asked to me by Lokesh. He's saying something like, my dream college is IIM Calcutta. So any fascinating point about IIM Calcutta that would keep me motivated to keep on studying? Chandana, if you can answer that question.
Okay. Hi, Lokesh. So, yeah, IIM Calcutta is actually very different from IIM A or IIM B. So there is lots of fun and I would like to add that it's the #1 college with respect to finance, and you have the top-notch faculty. Like I would like to emphasize on this point, like the finance staff which are working for IIM Calcutta are the advisories for Indian economy. So you can see how much level of teaching it is. So there are teachers who worked in RBI, who have been in the Council of Economy for various other countries like Sri Lanka, and many like top-notch experiences. So come experience that, then only you can have a feel. And they also say Edjoka, it's a lifetime experience. So be motivated, and I would love to see you at IIM Calcutta.
Perfect, Chandana. Now, Tabitha, this is a question that Shubham has asked me. I'll ask you the same question. How to analyze mocks and devise a learning strategy from that? How to analyze mocks and devise a learning strategy from that?
Yes. Hi, Shubham. So, analyzing mocks, the first thing that you can do is look at the errors that you have made. So when you look at that errors, so you might have made that error because there is a simple calculation mistake. So you need to make sure that you won't do those simple calculation mistakes again. These are the mistakes that we did many times, but you need to make sure that you don't do that again. And for every section, look at each and every question. So each and every question you should definitely look upon, because one, you might answer a question with long process and it might take a long time for you, but then when you see it in the mock analysis, in the answer part, there is a short formula that they are using and you can just solve it within 1 minute. So look for those points and note those points, note those formulas, how they are able to solve it very faster than your approach. So maintain those approaches. You can have 1 or 2 approach for solving a question. So by analyzing mocks, you'll know what is the quicker approach is, and you can adapt to that. Apart from that, to look at the errors that you are making and make a note of those errors, because you might make the same error again. But one thing is that these mocks that you are attempting, these are a combined set of all the questions from the previous CAT papers, or the questions from that are coming from lot of experience from the previous years. So when you are doing this with perfection, that would be seriously enough for your CAT preparation. So when you analyze a mock, what you are doing it is you are learning each and every question perfectly. So all the 90 questions that they are asking, you are very sure, and you are very sure that next time they ask a question, you will definitely answer it. So that should be your output of analyzing a mock. In that way, go through every question. Some questions you might take less time in answering, learn those approaches, and some questions you might not know the formula, learn those formulas. And in VARC also, sometimes they clearly explain what is their approach. You might miss on that one line or one word. In VARC, what I did while analyzing was that try reading that passage again. Now, because while attempting a mock, you might not do it well because you did not have much time. But again, take time and try attempting that passage again with more time and see if you are able to get that right. But all these will take time. That is the reason why they say a mock, what you give is for 3 hours and what you analyze is for 6 hours. But analyzing a mock will definitely help you, and maintain a book with your formulas and errors you're making, and refer to it before each and every mock. So that would help you a lot.
Okay. Chandana and Tabitha, I'd like both of you to answer this question first. Chandana, this question goes to you, and then I'd like Tabitha also to answer this question. This question is from Vijay. Now, it is a very, very important question as to understand where are you standing with respect to your preparation. So Vijay is trying to ask is, what was the gradual increase in your percentile as the exam approached? So let's say when we are looking at the month of August, then September, then October, then November, what was the gradual increase in percentile? Chandana, first yours and then I'll take Tabitha's answer.
Okay. So personally, I didn't prepare for a long time. So I tried to improve with what I had. So I didn't see so much of increase in with respect to ARC, but I certainly worked on quant. Initially, I used to be very narrow-minded. I didn't go for lengthy questions, or if the question is lengthy, the trick is it's lengthy but it's easy. But my mind, it's not going. So it's like uh, going forward, I tried to attempt even the lengthy questions, difficult questions, and I tried to challenge myself. That's how my percentile in quant definitely increased. It increased from, like, initially, even my number of attempts increased. Maybe from 80 percentile in quant initially, I gradually got to 95, 96, 97 in quant. And even after LRDA, like, there was a session which was conducted by Career Launcher, raised to 99 percentile. That year I attended, and that session was really insightful. So that's when I got a more clear idea on LRDI session. I started figuring out. Initially, you try to attempt all the passages, you try to go with everything, but from August, where I used to attempt all, there down I got to see what are easy passages. I attempted them for sure. So maybe from 75 percentile or so in DI session, I got above 90, 95 percentile. And with respect to ARC, I'm not going to talk much. Maybe Tavita can answer that.
Yes. So in the beginning, when I gave my first mock, my percentile was around 89 to 90. I think 89, 88, etc. But going on in the first month, of my preparation in August, it was around, I could improve to around 92, 93, something like that. Then it was 95, and close to November, in the November first few weeks, it reached 97, etc. So when you reach 97, I could say something that the CL mocks are a bit tough. So when you attempt that live mock in the analysis, so they would tell you your percentile is 93. If you would attempt the CAT with same accuracy, your percentile is would be around 97, etc. So the you can try looking at both of this analysis would help you. And apart from that, so gradually it increased, but then there would be some weeks where it does not, I don't mean to say that it was always an upward curve. So some weeks I might go wrong and I might get a less percentile. I might drop to 90 or so. But then again, the approach is to look at where you went wrong and why you went wrong, and try correcting that. So that is the only way going forward.
Perfect, Tabitha. I believe this is the last question that I'll take. We have already crossed 90 minutes here. So this is the last question. Chandana and Tabitha, both of you would be tired. Now this is the last from Ayush. So both, I'd like to answer it from your perspective, both as a student who was preparing for that, and as a student of IIM Calcutta, after having completed 1 year at IIM Calcutta. So from both those perspectives. So Ayush says, hello ma'am, can you please tell what kind of articles we should focus on, especially as you mentioned earlier, for developing a perspective not limited to India? So Chandana, if you can answer that question.
Yes. Okay. So to start with, I already told I read articles, but I mainly focused on video analysis of newspapers. I used to see every day. I used to write simultaneously. So there are certain articles with respect to medical field and like all those like animal field or geographic and all those things. I never focused on them. So mainly focus on politics, economy, and business news. Like mainly focus on business news, You can also not only try Hindu or anything, but you can see business class editions. Like there are separate editions for that. You can read those articles mainly with respect to business and economy. So that's how I approach.
Perfect. Tabitha, if you can also give your perspective.
Add more.
Tabitha, if you can also give your perspective as to what kind of articles a student should read while preparing for CAT, both from your perspective as a student and then from your perspective as an IIM Calcutta student.
Yes. So I read Hindu newspaper most of the time. So when you look at Hindu in the editorial page, there would be one article related to politics, one article related to the any different event that happened. Let's say one event that stood out in the news recent times. So anything. So let's say today there is a news. Tomorrow there would be an article about that. So what is an article is? It is the opinion where very many experienced people are putting forward. So when you read these opinions, when you read these articles, you would have your opinion also. You will have your own opinion. So when they ask in an interview, they are not asking you to provide all the data of what happened, but instead they're asking you to provide your opinion on that, your take on that. So your opinion and your take would be improved by reading these articles. In Hindu, there would be one national article, one article on politics, one article on international, etc. So you can try reading all of those. Maybe you would have around 3 to 4 articles every day. You can try reading those. That would help. As a student, I read all the articles that were present in Hindu newspaper that would be given every day. Apart from that, I did not read for more. But after going to IIM Calcutta, the articles that we would focus on right now is, let's say, a startup which did wonders in the recent times. So we would try focusing on that. Or let's say there is a huge investment that is coming up in India. For example, there was a huge investment that Google announced recently. So we might try focusing on that. So all these kinds of articles about economy or business, or how a very small company could reach a very good number of profits. So these are the articles that we try focusing on. Apart from that, there would be lots of materials that are provided from our professors' side, case studies about different companies. All these things that we would be reading on is different. But as a student now, as how you are preparing, you can concentrate on the articles that are given in the newspapers. That would help you a lot.
Perfect, Tabitha. Very good answers from both of you. With this, I like to call an end to this session. The end of the question answers. I believe both of you would be drained a lot. After a long time, after having prepared for your interviews, I believe this would be the longest question answer session that both of you would have encountered. Believe me, I love listening to your answers, but as a faculty, seeing students answer questions is really heartening, and the way both of you have answered the questions, I believe a lot of students would have got wonderful insights into how to prepare for CAT, and a lot of them would be motivated to do well for the CAT preparation. Thank you once again for giving your insights and suggestions. I believe there are a lot of takeaways from this session for all the students, and I wish you both best of luck from my side, and all the success that you deserve comes your way. Thank you once again. With this, I'll be ending this session and hope to see you soon once again.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was a great session.
And you have always been supportive to us, and we wish all of you all the best for your preparation, and we wish to see you in many of very good IIMs, and wish you all the best.
Yeah. Okay. And most of them come to IMC.
Yes.
Perfect. So with this, I'm going to end the session. Thank you all of you for being a part of it. It was really nice seeing all of you engaged and asking a lot of questions. I hope most of the queries have been answered to your satisfaction. Thank you once again, all of you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Bye.